Okay, this is the product we're going to make today. It's a necklace, bracelet, and 2 earrings. It's using a spiral bead weaving. And let's begin. Okay, this is a necklace that I made using the spiral weave stitch. I don't know how well you can see it. This is the spiral weave stitch, and what we're going to do now is we're going to make the matching bracelet. Okay, what we're going to use is we're going to use some 4-pound fishing line to do this, and the length that you use is whatever length you feel comfortable with. I'm going to start just by spreading out the length of my arms, both arms, and then cutting that amount. Okay, and then next I'm going to use a wide eye needle. Okay, and then I'll just thread in the filament, and there we have it. Now, I'm going to use some seed beads. I think these are size 11 seed beads, and that's about as close as I can get. And we're going to start with 4 of the core color beads, which in this case is black, and then 4 of your spiral beads. You can use them all the same color, you can use them different colors, which is what I'm doing. And I do them in the order of gold, brown, silver, and red. And the first thing you do is you put 4 seed beads onto your needle, the 4 core beads. Then right after, you put each of the other color beads. So you should have 8 beads on your needle. And then we're going to thread it until there's maybe about 1.5 feet thread on the other side of your beads. So you have some thread coming on the back. Now what we're going to do is we're going to take the needle, and the red didn't come down. We're going to take the needle and we are going to thread it back through the 4 black core beads so that it's just like this. So we're going through our 4 beads, and then we're going to tighten it by slowly pulling it tight, making sure that we keep the distance on the tail end so that we have some string left over, and get it about 1.5 feet, and then you tighten it up, and what you're going to have is a circle. So this is the side that is the end, and this one is the working side. So what we're going to do now is we're going to take our needle, and we're going to take 1 core, we're going to take 1 gold, we're going to take 1 brown, we're going to take 1 silver, and we're going to take 1 red. So we should have 4 colors on the needle. 1 core bead, and then our 4 spiral beads. And we just bring that down to our end like this. So we've got our round circle, and we've got the spiral beads on top. Now what we're going to do is we are going to go through the last 4 core beads, so the last 4 black beads. So we're just going to put the needle through the last 4 black beads, like you see here. And then we are going to tighten it up. And we'll just tighten it up and make sure that the 2 spiral arms are right next to each other, like you see right here. And once again, this side is our tail end. This side is our working end with the needle, and we're going to do the same thing we just did. We are going to take one of the black core beads. We're going to take a gold bead. We're going to take a brown bead. We're going to take a silver bead. And we're going to take a red bead. Then we're going to just bring it down. So that we've got now our 5 new beads on the top of our working area, and just like we did before, we are going to go through the last 4 core beads, which are the black beads, and we are going to tighten it up. And just like before, you want to make sure that the spiral beads are all together. So now we've got 3 rows of spiral beads and the core. And we're going to do the same as we did before. We're going to take 1 black. We're going to take 1 gold. We're going to take 1 brown. We're going to take 1 silver. And we're going to take 1 red. And we're going to just bring this down so that the beads, once again, are laying next to our core. And just like we did before, we are going to go through the last 4 black beads, which are our core beads. So they're going through the 4, and then tighten it up very carefully. Tighten it up and make sure the spiral is next to the next spiral arm, and tighten it up. And one more time, we'll pick up a black one. We'll pick up a gold one, a brown one, a silver one, and a red one, so that we've got the 5 beads on our needle. And once again, we're going to bring them down so that it's laying on the top here. And just like before, we're going to take our needle and we are going to bring it back up through the last 4. We're going from the bottom of them to the top so that when you pull it through, it's going to complete the circle. And as you can see here, it's going through those 4 black beads. And pull it tight. Make sure the seed beads, the spiral arms, are jutting up next to each other, and you can tell it's starting to twist around now, and we've still got our longish tail over here at the end. Okay, and one more time. Pick up a black one, a gold one, a brown one, a silver one, and a red one, so that we have 5 beads on our needle, and we're just going to pull it through. What I usually do is I stick my needle just into the pad here to keep it in place while I pull everything out. And then you pull it all the way down, and once again, I also turn it so that the black beads are facing up. It makes it easier to get those last 4. And then you send the needle through the last 4 blacks. Oops, that was the 5th. So as you see here, we're going through the last 4 black beads. Now, if you have a hard time pulling the needle through all of the, say it feels kind of snug, what you can do is take your jewelry pliers and just gently grab on and give it a little tug to get it through. And then once again, we'll pull this tight and make sure that the spiral is snugged up next to the previous arm. And let's do one more. A black, a gold, a brown, a silver, and a red, so that we have the 5 beads on the needle. Pull it through the needle. You can poke your needle in your thing, and then we'll just bring it through until we have them by our working piece. And just as before, we're going to take our needle and we're going to go back up through the last 4 black ones. If I can get it through. And that last black one that I put on there probably is not the best. And this is feeling kind of snug. And so I'm going to take my pliers and just pull it out. Then we're going to tighten it up. And tighten it up so that the spiral arm is right next to the previous one. And you just keep doing this until you have the length that you want, and it will end up looking like this. So as you get the spiral as it continues on. Okay, and now I'm just going to leave the camera running for a bit. I'll zoom out here so that you can see more of my work area, so I don't have to worry about keeping in frame. And then we'll just speed this up at this point. Okay, this is probably going to take too long to record the entire process to get the entire bracelet. So I'll come back when we're at another point to show you the next step. Okay, we're at the point right now where I've only got about a foot of thread left, and so I'm going to want to add more thread. So the first thing I'm going to do is I am going to weave the existing thread back into it. So you want to make a note of where the thread is coming out. And it's just coming out of this top black bead, which is the core bead. And so I'm going to just, the next set of 4 spiral beads that's right next to it, I'm going to weave my thread back through these 4 beads right here. And I want to keep everything taut. So I'll weave those through. And then the next set of spiral beads right next to it. So from the red up to the gold, just like that, I'm going to weave this through. And to get it extra tight now, I'm going to go back into the first set I went through, because this will kind of lock everything into place. So I'm coming back into the one right next to it. And it's just these 4 beads. I'm going through the gold, the brown, the silver, and the red. And so I'll come down through here and just tighten it. Then I'm going to go through again the one that's right next to it. So going up through the red, the silver, the brown, and the gold. And now I'm just going to go down the row. So along the spiral as it's spiraling down. So it's coming out of this spiral right here. And so I'm going to put it down into the next spiral, right next to it. So going through the gold, the brown, the silver, and the red. And pull it tight. And then we're going to go, so it's coming out of this one right here. And so we're going to go to the one right next to it. And go through those 4 beads and come back up and put it tight. And then we're going to go down to the next one. So it's coming out of this one right here, and so we'll go through the next one. Pull it tight. We'll go to the next spiral. It's coming out of this one. And so we'll put it in this one. Now that's probably enough. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back through the previous one next to it right here. And just go through that. And then back up again. And that helps lock it into place when you go over it multiple times. Now I'm going to go to the next spiral and just come down like this and just pull this through. Then I'm going to take my wire cutter, and I'm going to be careful that I don't cut any of the other thread, and I'm just going to cut that off. And so this is the top, and this bead right here is the top black one. That's where we're going to want the new thread to come out. But at this point, down at the bottom here, the amount of thread that we had left out, I'm going to show you how to finish it. I find it convenient to finish this off at this point. You can wait until you've finished the length of your bracelet, but I don't like having this thread hanging off the bottom. And so I'm going to show you now how we finish this off. Okay, what we're going to need is a 2mm crimp bead. We're going to be using a wire protector, and also a 6mm open jump ring. Okay, I'm going to take my needle and I'm going to thread the thread that's coming out of the bottom of the piece into the needle. And I will set that through the crimp bead and just bring that all the way to the end. And then I will send it through half of the protector like this. Then down the other side. See, it's hanging up on something. I don't know what it's hanging up on. Let's see. There we go. And then I want to make sure that the thread is in the protector groove here. It's kind of hard to see, but we'll just pull this tight. Then we'll send the needle back through the crimp bead. This gets, it's kind of difficult when you got klutzy hands like me. And so we've got the thread going through the crimp bead, through one half of the protector, around the loop, through the other side of the protector, and through the crimp bead again. Then we're going to take our needle, go back through the first two black beads, and pull it tight. Let's see, I've got my needle on the inside of that. I don't want that. And pull everything tight. And you want to leave some room here so that you'll be able to crimp your crimp bead. So you don't want to pull it too tight. And we don't want to crimp it at this point. We want to reinforce it some more. And so I'm going to go through this set of beads right here, which are part of the spirals, through the red, the silver, the brown, and the gold, if I can get it in there, like that. And you want to make sure it's not pulled up too tight, because you want to leave enough room there so that we'll be able to crimp this crimp bead. Then I'm going to go through the row that's right next to it, those 4 beads. Making sure that we still have enough play in here. Then I'm going to go through the black bead and through the crimp bead again. And then I'm going to go through the one side. It doesn't matter which one, but I want to go through this again. And then through to the other side, and then through the crimp bead. Pull it tight. Then now we have 2 threads going over the protector loop now. And we're going to go back through that first black bead, or actually we'll go through the first 2 black beads. And it's getting a little snug, so I need my pliers to help pull the needle through. And make sure that we're still going to have enough room here to crimp everything. And we'll go through these 4 beads again at the side. Like this. Pull it through. And then back up through the ones right next to it. Like this. Then we'll go through the black bead again, one at the very end. So we'll go through the black bead and then the crimp bead, maybe. There we go. And then we'll go through one side of the protector. And let's see, I've got this on the wrong side again. Let me bring the needle through here. And through the other side. And through the crimp bead. Through the other side and crimp, and it's getting really tight through the black bead here at the bottom. So we'll just pull this through. So now we have 3 loops going through the protector here. And let's see, we need to tighten that up. And so we've got our crimp bead and our protector, and we've got our thread now. And it's coming through that first black one. And so let me put the thread over here. We'll go down this edge, just like this. So now we're just getting this thread out of the way. And so we're going to just go down from one spiral to the next and work our way away from the end piece here. Okay, now what we're going to want to do is we want to crimp the crimp bead, but the first thing we're going to do is we're going to close these sides here. And so I'm just going to take my jewelry pliers and just press the side of the wire guard here and just press them down like that. Then I'm going to take my crimp tool and I'm just going to crimp that crimp bead, being careful that I don't break any of the beads around it. And so now we've got our end piece here. And we'll take the jump ring. To open the jump ring, you put your pliers on either side of the opening and you twist it away like that. You don't pull it this way, you twist it this way. Then you put the jump ring in, and then to close it, you come back, you go past a little bit, and just kind of gently wiggle it back and forth until you have it closed. And so now we finished off the one end. Okay, now to add more thread to our working end, which is this end, and as you remember, this last black one, the black one on the top, we're going to want our thread to be coming through this way. So I'm going to get another stretch of thread. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I'll count maybe 5 spiral arms down from the top. And I'm going to put it through the 4 and pull it through so that I have a little bit of a tail. Then I'm going to go back down the next spiral arm, heading towards the top. And I'm going to kind of hold on to the tail here so I don't pull it through again. And going to pull that tight. Then I'm going to go up the original one where the tail is coming out. I'm going to go through those 4. And I need a little help pulling that through. And I'll just slowly pull that thread, holding on to the tail here, and put it tight. Then I'll go through the next one, heading up towards the top. And pull this through. And I need my pliers to help me pull that. So I'll just pull this until it's tight. I'm going to tug on it and see if the tail comes up. And yeah, it's still moving a bit. So I'm going to go through these 2 one more time. So I'm just going to go in and out of the spiral arms, heading towards the top. Coming up right at the right point. So instead of going down this last spiral arm, I am just going to come through that last bead so that the thread will be coming up like it was before we had changed anything out. So now we're ready to continue the spiral arm. This tail that is sticking out here, right here, I'm just going to get my cutter and I'll just snip that off. And then now we continue the way we have been going. Okay, I've got the length finish that I want, and so from the end of one of the beads to the other end, this one's about 6 3/4. My wrist, around the smallest part here of my wrist, is about 6.5 inches. And so this is just a little bit wider than my wrist. The difference is going to be taken up in the clasp areas. And if you need to make it wider, say the person you're giving as a gift and you didn't quite know how big their wrist is, you can always add more jump rings to the end and make jump ring chains to widen it. But right now I'm going to show you how we're going to put the clasp on the other end, which is going to be similar to how we did the bottom end. The first thing we're going to do, let me zoom in so that you can see what we're doing. As you can see, it's coming up out of this last black bead. And so we're going to go down the spiral right next to it. And then just pull it tight. Then we'll go up the spiral next to it, like so. And then we'll tighten it. And then one more time, just to lock everything in place. So we'll go down the next spiral, and then up through this spiral. And then the very last thing will come up through that last black bead. And so now we've helped to lock the thread into place here. Okay, and just like on the other end, we're going to go through a 2mm jump ring. Bring that down to the end. Or not a jump ring, this is a crimp bead. So a 2mm crimp bead. Then we'll go up one end of the wire guard. Now is I'm going to take my pliers and I'm going to crimp the sides of the wire guard. Just like that. And then I will take my crimper and I'll be careful that I don't smash any of my seed beads, and I will crimp that down and I will round it. You can also just use your pliers to crimp the crimp bead. Okay, now I'm going to continue to bring this thread up and down, so I'm going to start working down the spiral now. Okay, now we're going to just add the clasp. So again, another 6mm jump ring. And we'll put that through the clasp and then through the wire guard on the other side. And we'll close the jump ring. And there we have our completed bracelet. Okay, and this is what it looks like on. Okay, I wanted to make some matching earrings for the necklace and the bracelet we just made, and so we're going to go through next how to make earrings like this. What we're going to need are 3 ear wires, an ear hook, a 6mm jump ring, and the same seed beads that we were using before. Okay, first we'll take one of our wires and we'll put a black, gold, brown, silver, and red. This is the same pattern that we used for the bracelet we just made. And now we're going to go back the other way. So we're not going to pick up another red. We're just going to go straight to the white or the silver, the brown, the gold, and the black. So that we should have black on both ends here. And we'll repeat that with one of the other. Now you'll notice the middle one here is a little longer. So we're going to start with the same pattern here. So now we're going to go back to gold, brown, silver, and red. So now we have the longer one ready. Okay. Now we're going to make these little rings here so that we can attach it to our ear wire. So you want to make sure the beads are down tight against the bottom. And we're going to take our flat nose plier, and I've put a little mark here so that I can be consistent. So I'm just going to put this on top of the black bead, lining it up with the little mark that I put on the pliers. And I'm just going to bend this back to a 90-degree angle, just like that. Then I'm going to take my round nose pliers, and I've also put a little mark on my round nose pliers, and I'm just going to put that up here. And then I'm going to bend this back up over the top, just like that, so that we've got a little half turn here. So at first we were like that, then you're going to move it so that it's on the top again, your needle nose pliers on the top again, lined up with that little mark, and you're going to complete the bend over, just like this. So you've got like that. Now you're going to grab a hold of this at the loop, And then you're going to grab this and you're going to start wrapping it. Make sure your beads are down tight, and you're going to wrap it 3 times around. So this is 1, and then 2, and if wires get too far apart, you can always squeeze them together. And then the 3rd. Just wrap it the 3rd time around. And then now you see we've got our wire wrap. And then you take your wire cutters and just cut it up right next to there. Cut it off. And then take your flat nose pliers, and very carefully so you don't break that top seed bead, you want to just flatten down that last one like that. And so we've got our first dangle prepared. Now we're going to do the same thing with the second dangle. Okay, I've completed the wire wrap of the longer piece. So now we've got our 3 pieces. We'll take our 6mm jump ring and we'll open it. And once again, you open it by twisting it this way, not this way. So we'll start by putting a short one on, then the long one, then the short one, and then we'll put that through the loop in the ear wire, and then we'll close the jump ring just like that. And then we've got our second earring, and so here are the matching earrings. Okay, and so here's the finished product with the necklace, bracelet, and earrings. You can make them any length you need just by repeating the steps over. This video has shown you how to add more thread when you run out of thread, and how to lock the old thread and the new thread into place, and then how to finish off the ends. Hope you enjoyed the video. Bye.